Did anyone of you guys growing up have one of those parents when you were about to get your ass kicked or your ass whooped? Your parents would say, you know what, go upstairs, go behind the door, and choose which belt you want me to beat you with. Or they'd say, choose which slipper you want me to beat you with, or something like that. I know some of you guys in the old days, um, your parents would hit you with switches or pieces of tree branch or something like that, and your father, mother would say, go outside and go pick the branch that you want me to beat your ass with. Do y'all ever have those parents? Um, I wrote something on YouTube 2 days ago, and it goes, Canada is providing the whip for its own lynching from China. So Canada, just like a small child, is going upstairs. Canada is going upstairs into China's bedroom and going behind China's closet door, and picking which belt it wants China to whoop its ass with. That's what Justin the Tacky and Mackdaddy Trudeau has reduced Canada to. And then I continue. Justin the Tacky and Mackdaddy Trudeau is using the Canadian military to train communist China's military. And they're training them, their Air Force, they're training them in cold weather simulations. They're doing all this stuff for the Chinese military. And then I said, China gave us coronavirus. China kidnapped two of our citizens, Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor. These are two individuals that China has arrested, just being held. We don't know how they're doing. We don't know what's going on. They're just there. China is a country which has some of the worst human rights records. They're worse. I would say they're just as bad, if not even worse, than Nazi Germany. They're rounding up Muslims, Uyghurs, and putting them in concentration camps. I mean, China is a disgusting country, and they gave us coronavirus, and don't tell me they didn't. So China, I mean, we don't even know if China created it or not. I'm not going to say they did or didn't. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, but they kept the truth from us about coronavirus. Doctors who tried to tell us the truth about it were being arrested, and then when it got too out of control, that's when they started going on. And then you remember that some of the white politicians here in the West, Nancy Pelosi, there was this mayor in Italy who said, hug a Chinese person. Nancy Pelosi said, go to Chinatown in defiance of racism. Because remember, Trump wanted to close the border with China because of the coronavirus. And everyone said that was racist. And now they're trying to pretend like they're all tough on borders. This Canadian-U.S. border, they're not tough on borders. They're not tough on board. They're the weakest people on board. That border with Canada and America, illegals are still crossing it, going into Canada. I also said China steals our jobs, and they steal our jobs with unfair trade practices, devaluing their currencies, which that part I don't necessarily blame them. I mean, their leaders are looking out for their country. But still, we allow it to happen, and they're not our friends. That's the thing. They're not our friends. I've always said all our countries need to be like Switzerland. We need to all be neutral. Stop these alliances. I would, if I was the president or prime minister or whatever, there'd be no more NATO. There'd be none of that. NATO, EU, NORAD. It's all neutral. We're neutral. Nobody's our friend, but we're not enemies either until you give me a reason to be an enemy. Canada, I wrote, is China's simp. And I want to talk about this now. Because documents which have come out of the government, Justin Trudeau and Mackdaddy Trudeau's own government officials are leaking documents which have proved that Canada is using taxpayer money to train communist China's military. Now, China has not necessarily been a good friend to Canada even before coronavirus. I call it the China virus. I call it the China virus, and nobody's ever going to stop me from calling it China virus. It is what it is, and you can get mad at me all you want, but I'm going to continue to say it. But even before that, China has always been threatening Canada. I mean, let me give you all the stories which have come out even before coronavirus. Canada-China relationships have been at an all-time low, starting with the kidnapping of the two Michaels. The two Michaels I told you about, who are now still in jail in Chinese prisons. I mean, the Huawei CFO arrest. Remember when we had the CFO of Huawei arrested? This is an article from NPR. China-Canada relations are getting increasingly tense, with both sides hurling insults and threats. The feud ignited after Canada agreed to a U.S. request to extradite a Huawei executive. So, and this is before the China virus. This is before that. And now we're training the military, which has been threatening us ever since 2019, which has our citizens locked up, and who knows what they're doing. We haven't heard from them in a while. They could be dead. They could be slaves right now. So that's why I said that Canada is choosing the whip to be beaten with by China, because we are strengthening China by training their military, only to let them kick our ass with it one day. It's just similar. There's no difference between what we're doing with China and what Reagan and Bush and all those people back in the 80s did with Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden. America was choosing the whip that to give to bin Laden to then kick America's ass with on 9/11. America trained bin Laden. Osama was a CIA agent in the 1980s, because when America was fighting with Afghanistan, with the Soviet Union, because Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, America didn't want Afghanistan to be another communist nation, and neither did bin Laden and those radicals out there, which, you know, I mean, this is just another reason why I say we should all just be neutral. But America said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to fund bin Laden. We're going to fund his people, Mujahideen, and we're going to send them off to go fight Soviet Union. But then Osama used those caves and those guns and those bombs and that money to go back and kill off Americans on 9/11 when they fell out. But I think it's even worse what Canada's doing, because at least when America was funding bin Laden at the time was an ally. Bin Laden at the time, he was an ally. China is not an ally right now with Canada. We're not necessarily going to go start fighting each other, because I know Canada would be torn up in 2 seconds. Canada would be torn up in 2 seconds, so they can't. But we're not friends. Any country, if I'm prime minister and my people are being taken away, wrongfully so, and the proper justices are not being met, this is why you shouldn't go to these type of countries anyway. You know, all these people who go to Iran and all, I mean, look, I'm a big traveler. I want to travel too. I want to visit many places. But you have to be careful. And if you're going to go to these places, you really, like, remember Otto Warmbier? He went to North Korea and he ripped off that poster, and look what happened to him. I mean, I'm not really well versed. I mean, what did these guys get locked up for anyway? Let me see. Even so, he's a diplomat. He's a diplomat. Michael Covering is a Canadian diplomat, former diplomat, who worked for the ICG, a transnational pro-peace think tank. After being detained in December, he was accused of espionage by China, and his arrest thought by some press outlets to be in retaliation for Huawei. So these two people were arrested because Canada sent off Huawei's CFO to get arrested by Trump. So really, these are probably trumped up charges that the guy's in jail for. We don't know what his condition is. We don't know where he is. We don't know if he's alive or dead. Is this a country we want to be training the military? Justin, tacky. I mean, the Mackdaddy's done some low down things, and this just goes back to, it doesn't even make sense to attack Mackdaddy Trudeau. He's the son of Satan. Who I'm attacking is the Canadian people, you Canucks out there. Now, I'll give you some leeway, Canuck. Most of you voted against Justin attacking Mackdaddy Trudeau in the last election. Most of you. I'm an independent. I think just about anybody would be better than the son of Satan. But not enough of you voted against him. And it just goes back to my point that I don't know whether or not Canadians are capable of running a country anymore. I don't think it's capable. There's something in our blood worse than sickle cell, which makes us just make such bad decisions. I mean, and he's still, I think he's still going to win. I think he will win the next election. I think the Mackdaddy is going to be in the Prime Minister's office for the next 15 to 20 years. I think so. And by the time he's gone, Canada will be in such a horrible shape. It'll be worse than Greece right now. That Canucks will just be they'll want change, but the damage would have already been. I think that's my prediction for this tour. I think one of three things need to happen. Either the country just separates, the West goes its own way, Quebec, Ontario, the Maritimes, or America comes in and takes us, or the British just come back and colonize us again. I mean, look, I think there's a legitimate argument for America's the Yankees, and I don't want this. I'm a dual citizen, but my allegiance is Canada. That's where I was born, that's where I was raised. I have a dual citizenship, but my allegiance is always going to be Canada. And no one can tell me that I'm being unpatriotic by saying this. I'm saying this because I love Canada, and y'all need help. But y'all need to hear the truth before you can get help. And the truth hurts. And the truth will set your tacky-headed Canuck selves free. But you all need help. And there's a legitimate argument for America to say, look, we're going to come in with the 32 Airborne Division, SEAL Team 6, the U.S. Navy, Marines, all these stuff, and just take Canada. You know why? Because Canada is training the enemy's troops. China is a threat to America. And if Canada is training them, that's almost like Canada training Al-Qaeda or Iran or Russia. I mean, one of America's enemies. I mean, so I think maybe someone needs to come in and deal with Canada, America. Is it Trump? Is it Biden? Kamala? Whoever. Somebody needs to come in and deal with Canada. They're training the enemy. But what does it say about us? Why aren't we up in arms about this? Why isn't the media talking about this? Why aren't we saying, hey, this country, China, has been a burden to us, giving us diseases. Look at us. We have to wear masks. Our businesses are destroyed. China's up and running, but our businesses are destroyed. Everything is destroyed. They kidnap our citizens. They steal our jobs. They threaten us, and we train their military. What does that say about us if we don't stand up and fight this? The media, CBC, CTV, CBC, Lisa LaFlamme, Eric Solomon, all these people on the media, Rachel, what's her name, Rosie Barton, Katie Simpson, all of y'all in the media, why aren't you talking about this? Because there's something wrong with the Canadian psyche. I think something is wrong. We need help. The truth hurts. But we can't let Justin Trudeau and Mackdaddy Trudeau use our taxpayer dollars to train China. Because China is only going to hurt us. They are selfish, which is not a bad thing for a country, but they're destructive for us. They're not our friends. And they're only going to use our aid to come kill us. But Mackdaddy said he loves China. It's the country he admires most for its basic dictatorship. You talk about Russian collusion with Trump, I haven't seen any. And I wish there was, because Vladimir Putin, even though he's gone a bit weird with this whole virus thing, but I'd rather Putin than China. And Trudeau, he is a Chinese agent. He's a puppet of China. There's Chinese collusion. We need to investigate it. Just like we investigated Trump, Canada needs to investigate Trudeau for China. This is the Arana Nation.